Hello, everybody. I'm Valerie Gilchrist, and I'm broadcasting from Augusta, Georgia, and this is Esther's Purpose. And we're broadcasting today, and my guest is Dupe Aleru. We're broadcasting through WYTV7 out of Charlotte, North Carolina, which is a nonprofit organization that actually broadcasts around the globe. They have a national and international audience. And they allow me to come on as a broadcaster and broadcast to you all Esther's Purpose. And my guest today is Dupe Aleru. But before I introduce her, what I'm going to do is I just want to let you all know that WYTV7 is a nonprofit organization, and that means that they accept donations to do what they do, allow us to broadcast around the world to bring encouragement to our viewers. We want them to leave empowered and encouraged for greatness. So it serves a national and international audience. You'd be surprised how much $5 will go when you're talking about a nonprofit organization. All right, so now I want to introduce my guest to you, Ms. Dupe Aleru. After being laid off 5 times within a 5-year period of time and surviving a life-threatening medical condition, Dupe tapped into her greatest superpower, an unwavering ability to conquer adversity. She forged her own professional path over the past decade, combining her passion for education and content creation to become a successful serial entrepreneur. I love that word. In 2010, she launched her first business, Tutors for Tots, Tweens and Teens, a K-12 tutoring company. Shortly after, Dupe joined the Periscope app and developed her personal brand as a 4-time self-published author. Yes, and business coach. She's busy. Dupe is now recognized as a leading authority for curriculum and course development, working with school districts, government agencies, and entrepreneurs across all industries, where she empowers others to package their knowledge that provides informative and sustainable solutions for their customers. Yes, Ms. Dupe, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Valerie, for that introduction. I'm super excited.
Yes, I am excited too. And you know, it's so good for you to be here, because I know you're super, super busy, and I really appreciate you taking out this time just to encourage our guests. So what I want to do before we talk about the things that I introduced about you, what we do here is Esther's Purpose, is I want to encourage those that are going through their struggles of life, through trials right now, and they cannot see the forest for the trees right now. They are so entrenched in what they're going through, they don't even see their way out. So I want to encourage them with people who can share their stories with them of adversity and trials and things that they went through, and then show us, you know what, even though I went through that, this is what I'm doing now.
Right.
So Dupe, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you tell them your story about being, I mean, when I read it, how many times you lost your job and then being sick. I want you to share that with us today.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let me, you know, like it's a pretty long story, but I'll try to just, you know, talk about the key points. So like you just said, you know, this goes back to 2006 when I became a classroom teacher. I was hired by our local school district, and when I received my first job, I was ecstatic. I called my mom. I was excited. Like, guess what? You know, like, you know, when you go to a job interview and you know you did well, like, yeah. I just had a feeling that I was hired. And when I got the call, when I received the call and they told me that I got the position, I was excited. So I called my mom, and you know how mothers are. They're always asking questions.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm telling her the story of my new classroom and how I'm a second grade teacher. She asked me, well, what about the health benefits? Like, after I told her how much I would be paid, and I ended up explaining to her that at that time, during 2006, the school districts was on a hiring freeze. So what they were doing was they weren't issuing any contracts, but they were hiring teachers as long-term substitutes. So what they did was they gave us that title, which allowed us to get paid as a teacher, but it didn't come with benefits. So that's how they cut costs. So mom, her being a nurse, she's telling me, okay, honey, you need to get medical insurance. And a little bit of context, you know, as me as a child, you guys, I was never sick. I had the chicken pox, but that was forced upon me because my brother actually had the chicken pox. My brother had the chicken pox, and my mom was like, "You guys are all staying home. You're all getting it at the same time."
Right.
So that does not count. Other than that, I was rarely sick. Out of all my siblings, I was not the sick one. So I'm telling this to my mom, come on, I'm never sick. Like, why am I going to spend $300 on medical insurance? And, you know, first year teaching, 26 years old, it was the first time that I was making a lot of money, about $48,000 a year. That was a lot to me coming right out of college. So I didn't want to spend money on things that were just, I was never going to use. Well, we should always listen to our parents, you know, parents are the best. Flash forward. Well, that year I ended up getting laid off. And so what they did was they brought me back the next year. I switched classrooms, and little did I know, not even 6 months later, that I would have been struck in with a medical condition.
Wow.
So I was working a lot of hours, feeling exhausted. And what happened was, you know, when you get your teaching credential, they tell you like your first year is like this. You know, everyone's excited to become a teacher. And as you start to go through your second year, before you hit your third year, you kind of go in a dip. And that's because of exhaustion and everything like that. So I was dealing with exhaustion and some medical issues. And my boyfriend of 2 months and I decided to go to Vegas. Well, when we went to Vegas, immediately, less than 24 hours, I knew something was wrong. So I asked him to bring us back home, and we did. And that night, you know, I ended up going to bed, and in the morning we ended up going to the doctors, and that's when I was diagnosed with benign uterine fibroid tumors.
Oh my goodness.
So to make like I said, a long story short, what was going on during this time was I got laid off again that year, and I couldn't finish my job anyway. So whether they're laying me off or not, I resigned.
Right.
I was put on bed rest by doctors. I was in and out of the hospital. And I hit rock bottom. And you know, when we go through our adversity, a lot of times, I grew up Christian, you know, we start to question, why me? We always ask the question, why me? Why do I have to go through this? What did I do? Graduated high school, went to college. I was doing everything right. So why am I doing this? And I didn't appreciate my process and my adversity until many years later. So I wanted to be clear that this wasn't an insight that happened right away. I was depressed. I was miserable. My friends would come and go, bringing me food. I was pretty much confined to my house for a few months. And because I did not have medical insurance, I was not able to have the emergency surgery that I needed.
Oh, wow.
I suffered for like 9 months. It was a long time. And like I said, I almost died. I was literally on my deathbed, and I was angry. I blamed God. And finally one day I realized, you know what? Like, this is not helping me. And I found myself on my hands and knees begging God for forgiveness and really praying and asking him, listen, if you get me out of this situation, I promise you that I will forever, you know, live my life for you. I will serve you. I would find my full potential. I will live fully in it. You know, when we start to bargain with God, we're bargaining everything. And so that's what I was doing. And less than 72 hours later, a few days later, I got a call from a hospital in northern or central California, I should say, north of Los Angeles. And it was the same hospital that my mom worked at as an OBGYN nurse. And it was her surgeon saying, come up here, we're going to perform the surgery.
Oh, yes.
But I guess my mom was telling him over and over my story. And he's like, we can't just sit here and watch your daughter die.
Right.
And I need the viewers to understand that this is back in 2006 when it wasn't mandatory to have medical insurance. Now it is.
Right.
It wasn't mandatory. I made the wrong decision at that young age to not have it. Once I have it, I would apply to Anthem. Kaiser, you name it, decline, because now I had a pre-existing problem.
Exactly.
So they weren't willing to take me on because my medical, that surgery was $100,000. It was an expensive surgery.
Yeah.
So I ended up having my surgery and, woke up from the surgery, and I remember seeing the doctors, everyone was around me, and they were just flabbergasted, and they told me that they removed 17 tumors. And I need people to understand, I'm 5'6", 24-inch waist, 00 in my jeans, and I looked like I was 3 months pregnant because that's how many tumors that were in me. And after that experience, I think that that's what it humbled me. I don't regret going through that. And I went through it again, and I'll explain a little bit about that. But it made me realize, it really humbled me in a good way, because I was going through life almost thinking that I'm just lucky and things just happen natural. Because as a child, my parents used to always tell me, you're lucky, you're lucky, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Natural and easy, other than school, because I didn't get good grades in school, in elementary school. Everything other than that came easy. Sports, you know, making friends, everything. So I went through life, you know, when I moved out to LA, I ended up being put on a TV show. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Soul Train, and I ended up doing that. Just a lot of things came easy. I got declined to get into Cal State Long Beach, and then my sister was like, well, write a letter to the dean. And I did, and I got accepted. So my whole life was just, if I was told no, I would figure out a way for them to say yes. You know, that was what I lived through. And so when this happened, it was like, whoa, like now something is now not going my way, and it humbled me in a way to realize that life happens to us all.
Yes,
you know, adversity can strike at any moment. And one moment we are living the greatest life and in our greatest moments, and the next moment we're like, how did I get here? And that's something that I want people to understand, that we all go through adversity, and it's not about overcoming it, but rather embracing it and using that adversity to challenge yourself to push through it. So I always tell myself, it wasn't about the pain. I went through a lot of pain. I mean, people could have endured the amount of pain that I had endured for that long of a time. But it wasn't about the pain. It was about the challenge to fight through something that was trying to hold me back from reaching my purpose. And the challenge to overcome my illness is what saved my life, because I ended up becoming a completely different person in the process. So the person that I am today is not, I don't even recognize the person that I was 10 years ago.
Yes.
So, you know, I had to experience it again. Just to keep it short, 9 months ago, I had to have another surgery. They removed 22 tumors. And so in the last 10 years, I've had 39 tumors removed. And I say that because everyone's always like, oh my gosh, that means you were cut 39 times. I mean, I have a high tolerance for pain. It's never been about the pain, because I can deal with the pain. What made me disappointed is that I allowed it to keep me from living, right? I never traveled. I always made excuses why I couldn't do things, because not me being ashamed, but because I was always dealing with the pain in certain things. Now, knowing that the tumors can grow back, but I'm not allowing it to stop me, right? I'm not doing my purpose. I'm speaking, I'm traveling, I'm doing all the things that I want to do, because I realize that what I'm going through, someone else has it worse.
And you know, that is good that you said that, because you know, and all the things you just talked about, we can get so focused on our drama that we don't think anybody else has a clue how bad we're having it. You know, nobody has it as bad as me, because we focus so much. And that's why I wanted to do this show, because I've read a lot of your story that you have put out there on social media. And that's why we want to encourage our guests. And I just want to stop and say again, I'm Valerie Gilchrist. This is Esther's Purpose. We're actually broadcasting through WYV7 out of Charlotte, North Carolina. My guest is Dupe Aleru, and she's been telling us her story. And I tell you, it's a wonderful story. That might sound crazy, but it's a wonderful story of how adversity can then turn into a real purpose for your life. Because, you know, one of the things, and I'm sure you know this, Dupe, from talking to people think that people just come to stardom or notoriety or go into their purpose just like on the wings of angels.
We all know better. We all know that that's not how, and that's exactly my soul. People always ask me, what made you tell your story? The sole reason for that. I got tired of people in my DMs telling me, oh, you're so beautiful. You're so lucky. You own all these businesses. You do this and that. They weren't understanding my struggle. You have to humanize yourself. You have to bring yourself down to everyone else's level for them to say, oh, wow, she might have all these great things going for her, but she's just like me. She had to overcome. So if she can overcome something that dramatic, and we all did not know about it, but all these years we're taking in her motivational content and everything like that, then wow, I can get through my stuff too.
And I don't know why people don't want that reality,
Right.
Because, you know, we sit here and we live, because what it does is, if I only see who you are now, Dupe, I actually think I can reach it, because I know my struggles, because I know what my background is. So
Right.
I could sit there and watch you, but I would never think I could attain, not doing exactly what I'm just talking about, being excited about life, walking in your purpose, able to do, you'll never be able to grasp it, because I would compare who I think you are as opposed to who I know I am, and I'll disqualify myself.
Exactly, exactly. And I think like this is why I have my podcast, Embrace Challenge Podcast, because once I opened up, I think it was well over 600 comments on that post. I mean, it had so many people called me, text me, people that I've known for years. I didn't know it was that extensive. I knew you're going through stuff, but I didn't know. And it's fine. Like, I didn't open up for pity or anything, because clearly it was already after I'd gone through it. I mean, a week after surgery, I was at an event. People are like, I'm like, no, I'm alive. I'm blessed to be alive. Like, I have that get up and go, let's go. Like, life's too short type of mentality. And everybody got to go through their own thing at their own time and their own pace and do things their own way. However, I say all of it to say that, you know, us sharing our story is not about us. It's about someone else through their journey and their adversity. And this is why it's very important that we need to live fully in our purpose. Because when we serve, when our purpose is outside of ourselves, when it's bigger than ourselves, that is when we are truly living. Because when we focus so much on ourselves, guess what? I feel like we're not the happiest. But when we focus on other people, when we have some purpose, when we're making progress in making impact, that's when we can be at our happiest point. And so I feel like that, do I want everybody to know all these tumors and all? No. But at the end of the day, I want to build legacy. And in order to build legacy, I need to impact and inspire and do something that's been done differently, right? Do something different that's already been done. And so for me, that was opening up and sharing my story.
Oh yes. And I mean, and you have an awesome story, and I can identify with it so much. And I'm going to say that in just a moment. Again, I want to remind our viewers and listening audience that this is, my name is Valerie Gilchrist. This is Esther's Purpose. We're broadcasting through WYV7 out of Charlotte, North Carolina. My guest today is Dupe Aleru, and she's sharing her story with us, how she went from pain to purpose. And I just want to say to you, Dupe, that I understand that, because in 1997, I was diagnosed with a neuromuscular disorder called myasthenia gravis. Most people have never heard of it. I didn't either until I was diagnosed with it. And by 2000, I too was preparing to transition into eternity. And it was the same year that my twin daughters were graduating from high school, because I was that sick. So where you were losing weight, by 2000, I was 300 pounds wearing a size 22 in a power chair, and could not have had this conversation as long as you and I had. And I had to have a thymectomy. So most time when people see this scar on my chest, most of the time when we see this, we think people had open heart surgery. It was then in 97 that I found out there are more reasons why your chest is opened up. It's not just for that, for heart surgery. They had to take my thymus gland out, and there was a tumor in it that was causing my thymus gland to go into hyperplasia, which causes myasthenia gravis. But mine went into remission. Praise God, I'm still here. And that's what, just like you, caused me to start walking in purpose, because what we find out is how fragile life is, and how quickly you could be here today, gone tomorrow. You could be up today, down tomorrow. And sometimes within moments. I don't know about with your particular illness, but with that neuromuscular disorder, for me, I could be full of energy one moment, and the next moment I can start slurring my speech, my vision get double, get short of breath, and immediately too weak to even function. So when I heard your story and I read it, and I hear you talk about it, it's that the manifestations of it sounded a lot like mine as far as how you feel physically. So I get that. So tell me how you transitioned from all of that to what you're doing today.
Yeah, I mean, I think me becoming an entrepreneur, and I got laid off so I got laid off 4 times in the classroom as a classroom teacher, decided to leave classroom teaching altogether. My first job outside of the classroom was an education reporter for the Beverly Hills Courier newspaper, and I was laid off after a year. So that's 5 layoffs within a 5-year span. At that point, I made a decision I would never work for anybody again in my life. So that's when I started my company, Tutors for Tots, Tweens and Teens. And though I was going through a lot of that adversity still, I literally immersed myself into my work. So I think having a goal, being focused on, you know what, I'm going to make something of myself, really almost, I didn't forget about the pain, but it was something positive I always focused on. So I was always focused on like my accomplishments and reaching goals and helping my community and whatever I can do. So with that being said, you know, I've been an entrepreneur now for 8 years, and I've transitioned from managing my company. Now I recently gave it to, I hired a manager to kind of take over.
I saw that.
That's really exciting because I knew my true purpose was to educate on a mass scale. And the way I do that is through my speaking, sharing my story at conferences, speaking on panels about how I can help entrepreneurs build their online brands and curriculum, and as well as just being a business coach. And I coach in, again, branding, building an online business, as well as curriculum. So now it's like, I look back and I'm like, I'm happy that I went through that, because I know for a fact I would not be here. And I have never been the happiest ever in my life until recently, right? 2018 has been my year. So much has happened, but I've been my happiest, you know? And so, yeah, I have a ton of scars. I have a scar like this from my belly button down. I have my second surgery, I have a robotic surgery, so I have a few slits and stuff. But it's a constant reminder that, man, you're a tough cookie. Like, you know, like it's kind of like my warrior scar, my warrior wound. So one of those things where, and that's why I wear this bracelet, if people can see this. I have 39 on here, and it's a constant reminder. It's the number of tumors that's been removed.
Wow.
But I wear this bracelet almost on a daily basis as a constant reminder that when life gets tough, I can push through it. Because I refuse to go through life without worrying about the small stuff. You know, things happen in everyday life. Whether
I get that.
You know that? So this is always a reminder like, oh, I can get through that. That's nothing. You know? So
yeah, well, you know, I kind of wish I had a bracelet I could take off. Because, you know, it took me a long time to be okay with this scar. You know, we all have our, you know, whatever it is, our thing that triggers us. And at first I used to I would never wear anything like this. I would cover it up all the time. And, you know, and I would always wear stuff all the way up to my neck, no matter how hot it was. And I did that for years. But after a while, I stopped and I said, you know, you have got to get over that, because that scar is your story. Just like you talked about that bracelet, that scar is my story. And so now when people ask me about it, at first, I remember the first time I stopped wearing, and I started wearing shirts that you could see it. Soon as somebody said something, the very first time I went back to wearing my shirts up to here. I was like, no, I don't want anybody to see it. But when I got comfortable with it, then it was a door opener that said, okay, let's talk about this. And just like what you said, people don't know our story. They just see us today. And then when you start telling them, they just go, wow, you went through all of that? Yeah. But that's what I mean about Esther's Purpose, you know, this program being one that's going to encourage and empower people to go through it. Because now, I don't know about you, but when I was going through, I didn't have any vision. It was all darkness for me. I continued to work. I had my twins. At that time, that was their high school years from 15 to 18. And they were being regular teenagers. They really didn't know their mom was dying, and they didn't even know what that meant. They just saw me laying in the bed a lot, but they saw me get up and go to work every day. They never stopped, other than the 6 weeks after the open chest surgery. They never saw me just lay down. They saw me keep getting up. Even when I got in the wheelchair, they never crossed their mind, you know, about what was really going on, because they were teenagers. But, you know, now when I talk about it, when somebody asks me about that scar, it isn't even so much about the myasthenia gravis or the surgery. It's more about what you talked about. When you really understand the life, for real, you know, and you start valuing that time that you have. Because we all have a certain amount of time, and we don't know how much that time is. We really don't. And we start valuing that time.
And I think that's important. I mean, you pretty much said it. It's like, do not wait till adversity strikes before you realize that you can do whatever you want to do today. And
Yeah.
I don't, and we all do this because we're human beings, but we wait till adversity strikes. We wait till something bad happens before we actually want to start praying to God. Start today. You know, be grateful for where you are, what you have, even if things are going on in your life right now. I always say, find 5 things of gratitude, right? Because it will shift. You can shift your mindset. You will shift the energy that you're putting out, and then your circumstances will change, right?
Right.
So a lot of times we harp over our adversities or our setbacks or this and that. And that's why we're always stuck in a rut, right? Stuck in a rut because you're having the same negative emotion over and over and over again. But when you can just shut it off and say, okay, I understand. I got laid off. Now what? What are the things that I need to do in order to achieve the thing that I want? A lot of people are not able to switch that mindset. Then I think that's always the issue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we do think that we have a whole bunch of time. 24 hours is a long time when you have no focus.
Exactly.
When you're absolutely really not doing anything of any real value, you know, but now for us, like people like us, 24 hours is such a short amount of time because we're trying to do so much. We're trying to get it in and get it done. So yeah, it fills up your whole space. Well, you know, Dupe, I really, really, really appreciate your sacrifice for coming here and doing this with me today. Yes, ma'am. I want to remind our listening and viewing audience again that I'm Valerie Gilchrist. This is Esther's Purpose. We're broadcasting from WYTV7 out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I want to encourage all of our listeners to go on our Facebook page, search us, find us, WYTV7. You can also go on the website, WYTV7.org. You can catch me on Facebook. You can follow me on Esther's Purpose. I actually have a personal website, webpage. I'm just twisting my words. I have a personal Facebook page as well. I have a website as well, estherspurpose.org. Go on there, but go to our Facebook pages. Follow us, like us, you know, share our content. And Dupe, before we end, I want you to tell people how to follow you.
Yeah, so, you know, the platforms I use the most is Instagram. So you guys can find me at Dupe Aleru. D-U-P-E is my first name, A-L-E-R-U. And then also my website, dupealeru.com. And then if you wish, you know, you can also find me on all other social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube. Just my name. Just my name.
Yes. And I tell you what, viewers, listeners, she's an awesome person to listen to and follow. If you want some encouragement, if you need some energy boost for the day to get you started, no matter what she's talking about, her energy is contagious and it'll get you started for your day. But Dupe, again, we're going to close. Hold on for just a minute after we finish. I so appreciate you being on. I know that you're really busy. I so appreciate you just taking out this time to be with us and share with us today. So thank you so very much. To my audience, oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I just want to tell my audience, thank you so very much. Thank you for being with us again today. Appreciate you. Watch for us soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.